There's nothing exciting really about this Brazilian side. And I played against Brazil in '98 and France. You couldn't get the ball off them. You couldn't get the ball off Dunga and Rivaldo and Ronaldo.
It just seemed like men against boys, especially once that first goal went in. You have to be kicking yourself, though, if you're a Brazilian fan. You have to be kicking yourself if you're Bruno Guimaraes. You have to definitely be questioning yourself if you're Carlo Ancelotti, because at the end of the day, Brazil did not have enough cutting edge in the final third, and that's what cost them.
Brazil's 24-year decline has finally reached its breaking point. For the first time since 1990, the five-time world champions are out of the World Cup before the quarter-finals. Norway, a nation that had never reached the last 8 before this tournament, did it with a 2-1 victory inspired by Erling Haaland's brace and a heroic Ørjan Nyland performance. Carlo Ancelotti, the coach brought in to restore Brazil's dominance, watched his side miss a penalty, create chances they couldn't finish, and lose another knockout match to European opposition. But this story didn't begin against Norway. It stretches back through Croatia, Belgium, Germany's infamous 7-1, the Netherlands and France. 6 different World Cups, 6 different European opponents. The same painful ending every time. So how did the nation that gave football Pelé, Garrincha, Romario, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Cafu and Roberto Carlos become a team that no longer imposes itself on the world's biggest stage? Was this simply one bad night, or has Brazil slowly lost the identity that once made them football's greatest force? This is not just the story of Brazil's elimination, it's the story of how the most feared nation in football spent 24 years drifting away from everything that made it great, and why this defeat may finally prove that the real problem runs far deeper than one coach, one generation, or one tournament.
Brazil lost to Norway, but the real question is why it felt less like a one-off disaster and more like something that had been building for a while. A 5-time champion going out in the round of 16 is already a shock. Brazil doing it for the first time since 1990 against a Norway side that had never even reached a quarter-final before turns the result into a warning. Brazil arrived with the expectations only Brazil can carry. Ancelotti was supposed to be the calm adult in the room, the knockout specialist bringing structure to all that talent. Vinicius was meant to lead the line. Neymar was there for one last emotional chapter. On paper, deep run written all over it. Instead, Norway had one of the great nights in their footballing history at MetLife Stadium. And credit where it's due, this wasn't a smash and grab off one long ball and a prayer. Nyland kept Norway in it when Brazil had control. He saved Bruno Guimaraes' early penalty, the moment that could have changed the temperature of the game, then denied Martinelli and Vinicius with his legs, and kept coming up with stops as Brazil started carving out real openings after the break. For 78 minutes, Brazil was still very much alive, not dominant, but alive, enough chances to win it. Endrick came on, and within seconds Vinicius slipped him through with the kind of pass that should have ended the conversation. Heavy touch, finish never settled, chance gone. In knockout football, that's not a small moment. That's the difference between survival and a national inquest. Then Norway made them pay. Schelderup, on at half-time, found the space down the left Brazil had been dreading all game and delivered the cross. Haaland did what Haaland does, attacked it with real violence, headed it down, gave Alisson nothing. Then, right at the death, he struck again, threading it through Danilo's legs for 2-0. By the time Neymar converted his penalty in the 10th minute of stoppage time, it didn't feel like a comeback. It felt like an ending with a nice signature on it. No miracle, no famous Brazilian escape. And that's why this one stings. Brazil didn't lose because Norway were bigger historically. They lost because Norway were clearer tactically. Norway knew exactly what they wanted. Stay compact, trust Nyland when things got uncomfortable, use the subs well, wait for Haaland to decide it. Brazil looked caught between two ideas, too cautious to really impose themselves, not disciplined enough to fully control the risk, worst of both worlds. That's where the real issue starts. This wasn't Norway pulling off a miracle. Brazil looked like a team that had forgotten who they were. And I don't mean the lazy version of that argument, the one where Brazil apparently has to do stepovers every 5 minutes or it doesn't count. Brazil's great teams were never all the same team wearing different years. 1958 gave the world Pelé and Garrincha. 1962 adapted when Pelé got hurt and Garrincha just took over. 1970 was beauty with real teeth, organised, ruthless, not just pretty. 1994 was pragmatic but still had Romario and Bebeto deciding games off pure instinct. 1992 had Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Cafu, Roberto Carlos could hurt you from literally anywhere on the pitch. Different styles, different decades, different systems, but every single one of them shared the same thing: confidence, imagination, the authority to make the other team react to you. This 2026 Brazil did the opposite. Against Norway, they too often looked like the team reacting, letting the match settle into Norway's rhythm instead of bending it around their own quality. Casemiro and Guimarães gave the midfield experience and cover, sure, but not enough speed through the middle or invention between the lines. Vinicius carried too much of the load alone, receiving the ball in spots where everyone in the stadium knew the plan. Isolate him, let him run, hope for magic. That works in flashes, it's not an identity. Which is why this hurts beyond the scoreline. Brazil didn't just go out early, they went out looking small. Not small in talent, this squad had plenty of that. Small in posture, small in ambition, small in how they approached a knockout game against a team making history in real time. We've all heard the line that modern tournament football demands control and pragmatism. True, but pragmatism isn't the same as fear, structure isn't the same as passivity, and balance was never supposed to mean stripping out exactly the qualities that made Brazil different from everyone else in the first place. Norway earned this. Haaland earned the headlines. Nyland earned the praise. Solback and side earned their spot in the quarter-final, first time in their history. Brazil earned the questions now following them home. Earliest exit since 1990, first time missing the quarter-final since 1990. By the next World Cup, 28 years without a trophy. So yes, Brazil lost to Norway. But the real story is worse than a scoreline. Brazil lost control of the match, lost control of the moment, and maybe worst of all, looked like they'd lost touch with whatever used to make that yellow shirt feel heavier than the opponent. That's why this feels shocking, and also why it doesn't feel surprising at all.
The scariest part wasn't Haaland scoring twice, it's that Brazil knew exactly what his weapon was and still built a match that gave him time to use it. Ancelotti said pre-match that Brazil had no anti-Haaland plan. Everyone already knows what he does. Fine in theory, but knockout football isn't about knowing what a striker does, it's about controlling the conditions that let him do it. Brazil never did. From the whistle, this was cautious Brazil, not commanding Brazil. Block sitting deep, midfield protecting space instead of hunting the ball, no press to force mistakes. Ancelotti later admitted Brazil were wary of pushing too hard given Norway's defensive solidity, which sums up the night, managing danger instead of creating it. Strange approach for a five-time champion against a team chasing its first ever quarter-final. The midfield told the story. Casemiro and Guimarães gave experience, not vertical speed through the middle. Everything went wide and predictable, and Vinicius got asked to be release valve, carrier and one-man wrecking crew. At once, works when the game opens up, not against a compact side happy to trap you on the touchline. Brazil leaned on moments, a Vinicius burst, a penalty, an Endrick run. Norway leaned on connection, defend the right areas, trust Nyland, keep Haaland alive for the last act. That's where it fell apart. Not for lack of chances, Guimarães missed the first half penalty, Nyland denied Martinelli and Vinicius with his legs, Endrick nearly scored seconds after coming on, Ryan and Guimarães forced saves too. Proof Brazil could have won it, but those were isolated flashes, not sustained control. Creating chances and controlling a match aren't the same thing. Norway didn't need to dominate every minute, just stay close and wait for Haaland. Solbakken's key call, Sheldra up on Noosa at half-time, reshaped their left side. The goal wasn't lucky,
patient build-up, the exact crossing angle Brazil needed to shut down. Scheldrup delivers, Haaland separates from the line and powers a header past Alisson. No anti-Haaland plan is one thing, handing him clean service into the box is another. The second goal confirmed it, Haaland through Danilo's legs late in regulation, 2-0. By then, Brazil weren't managing a knockout tie, they looked like a team trying to figure out how it slipped away. Some of this was baked in before kickoff. João Pedro left out despite a strong club season. Ancelotti admitted he probably deserved a place. Not a scandal alone, the real problem was what followed. Brazil never solved the striker position. Ego Thiago got the gamble, struggled in the Morocco opener, missed a big chance and lost credibility fast. So João Pedro's omission turns into a symptom. If Vinicius gets shut off, who combines centrally? If Neymar's not fit to start, who creates between the lines? Where's the number 9 who occupies defenders and still links play? Then Estevan's injury removed one of the few players who could have shifted the rhythm without a system rebuild. Direct running, one-on-one threat, no fear of attacking defenders. Against Norway, that absence showed. Brazil had runners, had names, lacked variety. Which brings Richarlison, Gabriel Jesus, Savinho and Thiago Silva into the same conversation. Not that all had to make the squad, but whether Brazil built enough tools to survive exactly this kind of match: tense knockout, compact opponent, world-class striker waiting, a keeper in inspired form, a game where the first goal changes everything. Norway answered that for them. Nyland's save stopped pressure from becoming control. Endrick's miss showed the cost of asking young forwards to solve big moments cold. Scheldrup's assist showed what a sub built for a specific job can do. Haaland's movement showed why managing space matters more than trusting defenders to simply know him. That's why this lands so heavily on Ancelotti, not because he's suddenly a bad coach, his resume makes that laughable, but because this was exactly the kind of match he was hired to manage. A tie decided by details, and Brazil lost them. The missed penalty, the missing press, the failure to stop the cross, the squad imbalance. Add them up, that's the downfall. So when people ask how Brazil lost to Norway, the answer isn't just Haaland. He finished the job, Norway executed the plan, Nyland protected the lead, Scheldrup changed the match, but Brazil helped build the conditions for their own elimination. They reacted when they should have dictated, they waited when they should have imposed, and against a Norway side writing its own history, Brazil played like a team just trying to survive the occasion. Survive the occasion, that's been Brazil's whole story since 2002. France in 06, Netherlands in 10, Germany in 14, Belgium in 18, Croatia in 22, now Norway. Different coaches, different squads, same ending. Brazil's champion teams never just survived. Pelé and Garrincha in 58, Garrincha carrying 62 alone. The 70 side, still the standard everyone's measured against. Romario's genius inside 94's discipline. The fear factor of Ronaldo, Rivaldo and Ronaldinho in 2002. Today's Brazil still has the talent. Vinicius, Estevan, Endrick and Ryan. That was never in doubt. The question is who dictates, who imposes, who makes the opponent nervous before kickoff instead of the other way round. 24 years chasing a 6th star. Maybe Brazil have been looking for it in the wrong place entirely.